Hi, my name is Marilyn, and for this video I'm going to be showing you 3 looks using the Muerte palette by Melt Cosmetics. This is from the new Amor Eterno collection that they created based on the Mexican Dia de los Muertos celebration. This collection was huge, and these were the only items that I picked up so far, so I went ahead and created a look using all 3 of the liquid lipstick set. One look for each one of those, and I used the entire collection of these eyeshadows. You can tell mine is super beat up already because I have been going in on this thing. This is actually my first time trying Melt Cosmetics, so if you'd like to see my review for this and what I came up with for the looks, then just keep on watching. I literally only have 10 minutes to do this look, so I'm going to do a very sparkly and easy blue smoky eye for this one. I forgot to put on eyeshadow primer, so this is going to be a real test of how these eyeshadows perform. I'm taking the shade Lagrimas and blending that into my crease right now. For the outer corner and under eye, I'm using the shade Duelo. So that's pretty much all of the blending. Now I'm just going to add the shimmer shades Angelito and Katrina on the lid. And the shade Calaca on the inner corner. To finish off the eyes, I added a little bit of eyeliner by House Labs, and then on my lips I have the Monarca liquid lipstick by Melt. As I was finishing this up, I noticed that it started to look a little more green than I anticipated. I don't know if it's maybe because I didn't use an eyeshadow primer, but it is very pretty. Anyways, this is the completed look. For this look, I'm going to be creating a split red and blue eye look. As a primer, I'm using the MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot. I'm starting out in the outer corners of my eye with the shade Corazon. I'm using this as a transition for the darker shades that I'm going to go in with later on. To blend out the inner corner, I'm using the shade Lagrimas. For the red side, I'm going to be deepening my socket using the shade Velorio. And I'm just going to be taking a little bit more of Corazon to blend that out. And for the blue side, I'm going to be deepening my corners with Duelo. I've left a little space in the top and the bottom, and for the top half I'm going to be filling that in with the shade Noche Eterna. I'm taking that same shade onto my finger and lightly pressing it onto the front half of my eyelid. Now I'm just taking a brush to blend out the edge a little bit for the next color. I chose to do it this way just because if I blend it in too much with the brush, it tends to kind of just look black. So I wanted it to keep that really beautiful blue color. And for the under eye gap that I left there, I'm going to fill it in with the shade Sangre. And now I'm picking that same shade up and adding it to the outer corner of my eye with my finger. Now I'm just going to clean up the lid by going around the edges. To finish off this look, I added a big spiky pair of eyelashes, and the lipstick that I'm using for this is Mariachi from the liquid lipstick set. For this look, I created a very smoky and simple glittery eye. As a base, I just used my concealer and set it with my face powder. I'm starting off with the bright red shade Corazon, and I'm using it as a transition shade. I'm creating a very rounded eye shape and really blowing out this shadow. Since they are very pigmented, I'm almost trying to sheer it out so it can match the lip color that I'm going to be pairing it up with. For the crease, I'm picking up the shade Noche Eterna. With this first layer of blending, I'm just focusing on really shearing out the products and making them as seamless as possible. I'm also bringing this under my eye and really smoking it out towards the red. Once that's blended out, I'm going to be going back and forth with the same colors one more time, just to re-intensify the shades. Now I'm taking the shade Katrina and mixing it onto my brush using the Maron mixing liquid. This is going to help bring out all of the glitter inside of the shade. And to finish off the look, I'm just smoking out the bottom lash line with the shade Pantheon. I'm finishing off the waterline by using the Scrunchie UV Hydra Liner by Suva Beauty. Since this is a water activated eyeliner, I actually mixed it on with a little bit of the NYX Jumbo Milk Eye Pencil. To finish off this look, I'm just adding my lashes and Fiesta liquid lipstick. So before I get into the review, I kind of wanted to talk about the collection just because it really did touch my heart with all the promotional images that they came out with and how authentic the collection really was. If you haven't already, please make sure to watch the release video for this collection. It's amazing. My favorite holiday is Dia de los Muertos, and the particular spot where the promotional campaign was shot for this is actually where my mom is from. So I've been there before and it was like really nostalgic and beautiful to kind of see all those memories come back to me. Not only was it done very well visually, it had a lot of meaning and correct terminology for everything. So it doesn't seem, even though this is like a holiday collection, it doesn't seem like a money grab like other items might during this season. So it's something that I'm really proud to own and that really visually inspired me, and that's what's really important. It doesn't matter what it is, it could mean nothing, but as long as the actual makeup inspires me to create, this is just like an added bonus on top of it. I honestly can't remember the last time I felt this inspired by a collection, and I've seen a couple other reviews of this as well, and a lot of people are saying the same thing. I love all of these muted tones, and I'm just going to go in and show you a close up and talk about each shade individually just because I really think this collection deserves its own moment. So let's get into the palette. First we have Angelito, which means angel. Angelito is described as a luminous celestial blue. In working with this eyeshadow, I found that it can come off kind of chunky onto a brush if you don't apply it with some kind of wet base or directly with your finger. So those are the ways that I would recommend using this shadow. Lagrimas, which means tears. Lagrimas is described as a turquoise hue with a minty tone. Now looking on the website and seeing it described as a turquoise makes a lot more sense because to me, it really does have more of a green kind of tone to it. The best way that I've found to apply this shadow is to a tacky white base. That's going to make it as bright as possible. Next is duelo, which means dual. I honestly haven't heard that word before. My Spanish isn't perfect. It's described as a powerful jungle green. And on the site, it's actually suggested that you build the shade up to the intensity desired. So I'm gonna give it just another pass on here. This is a very unique shade. The mattes in this eyeshadow palette are very pigmented. The only thing that I can think to compare this to is the Subculture palette from Anastasia Beverly Hills, but I feel like this is a lot more workable and easy to blend. Next is the black shade Pantheon, which means cemetery. This shade is actually not a black. On the site, it's described as a deep jet gray. I forgot to mention, these swatches are being done without any primer, just because I wanted you to see how intense these eyeshadows really are. Noche Eterna, which means eternal night, is the most gorgeous midnight blue color. It's definitely one of the standouts in this eyeshadow palette. The star shade in this palette to me is called Catrina, which is the icon of Dia de los Muertos. It's described as an imperial blue eyeshadow with an abundant turquoise shimmer. I love the tiny glitter particles in this eyeshadow just because they are multi-dimensional and pair very well with the red colors. It's because of the little purple reflect and little gorgeous silver and blue colors of glitter that it has. This is more glittery compared to Angelito, which is more of like a pearly metallic finish. Next is Velorio, which translates to wake. This color is described as a plum hue. It's more of a very warm toned purple. I love these eyeshadows because they don't stain, which is really rare to find in highly pigmented shadows. Sangre, which means blood, is the perfect color to describe that shade. It's described as a dark cherry tone. It's a red that I'm really glad to have in my collection because it doesn't lean orange at all. When you look at the palette, it might seem like these two are very similar, but swatched next to each other, I hope you can tell that this one is a lot more purple. The bright red in this palette is called Corazón, which translates to heart. It's described as a pomegranate color, and I love this bright red because it's very neutral. It doesn't lean warm or cool, just a gorgeous primary pomegranate. The best base that I would recommend with these shadows is just using your concealer and setting it. These eyeshadows don't really need anything to hang on to. They just need a smooth surface to blend out onto. And the last one in here is Calaca, which translates to skull. I hate skulls, but that's just such a fun word to say, Calaca. It's described as a sugar bone hue, which is not a color to me. I would describe it as a pearlescent champagne color. It's not as chunky as Angelito when you apply it, but I would still recommend using this one with a wet brush or a finger. The purple shade in here is called Mariachi. This is what the packaging looks like up close, and this is what the applicator looks like. The formula on these is very thin, so I'm gonna do half of the swatch using it straight from the applicator. Using a brush does make it apply a little more sheer, and to me that's okay because since this formula is very thin, once I go over it with another layer, it becomes perfectly opaque. This shade in particular was a little tough to work with, but I don't mind because it's such a gorgeous shade. It's a very true royal purple, and it does dry down to have a gorgeous metallic sheen to it. Fiesta is a neon strawberry milk color. It's a stunning neon pink, and I find this one to be a lot more easy to apply just because it is a lighter color. And it's the one that I have on right now. I love the name of this one. It's called Monarca, which is the monarch butterfly. It's probably my favorite of the bundle because it is an electric orange shade. And this is what it looks like when it's all dried down. I forgot to mention that I'm kind of sick, so sorry if I sounded weird throughout the whole video, but overall in my testing of these products, I would say that my favorite is definitely the Muerte palette. The only thing that had stopped me from purchasing from Melt before was that they're very high up there in their pricing, and that's one of the things as well that I am taking very seriously into consideration when recommending products. This is probably one of the more expensive palettes that I have. I know they're gonna have them also available in Sephora. Sephora just recently started carrying Melt Cosmetics as well, so if you don't want to purchase from their website, you can also wait to see it in store for yourself, which I always would recommend to do. Thank you so much for watching my tutorials and review using the Muerte palette by Melt Cosmetics. If you liked my review of the Amor Eterno collection, please make sure to leave a thumbs up down below and subscribe to my channel as well for more. For a closer look of this makeup and other looks, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at MarilynMugBeat. I'll see you next time. Bye!